Eric here. I wanted to put together a video of 8 essential items for a beginning guitar player. Now, item number 1 on the list that you need is a tuner. So tuners come in many different styles. So here are a couple of different headstock clip-on tuners. You can also find sound hole tuners. You can even get a free phone app that allows you to tune. So one of the advantages of a headstock tuner or a sound hole tuner over a free phone app is that if you're playing with other people, the phone is trying to use the microphone in the phone to actually hear the sound. So if there's multiple people, that can cause the tuner to be confused. So something like one of these works really nice. So you don't need to necessarily buy the $75 tuner. Something like a Snark works really well for getting you in tune, and they're super common. You'll see them everywhere. Now, they're not made that robust. And one of the failure points on this particular tuner, this style tuner, is this joint, as this little gooseneck actually meets up with the tuner itself. And it's a very common occurrence, at least in our house, to see the tuner look like this after extensive use. So we actually refer to these tuners as the chip clip because that's where most of them end up. So that's something to note if you're going to use it a lot. The Peterson is really great because you can see it outside. And with a strobe tuner, you'll notice that there's not a needle that goes back and forth, but there's this little series of blocks that scroll left or right depending on if you're sharp or flat. A lot of folks get confused by this. I've been in jams where people will actually just give me this back if they ask to borrow a tuner because they don't understand how it works. But once you learn it, it's not that big a deal. But the big advantage of this particular tuner is out in the sunshine in a jam, you can see it really clearly, and it's a really nice thing. There's also, this sound hole tuner works really well, and it's always on your guitar, so you don't have to worry about accidentally leaving it somewhere. Whether you hand it to someone in a jam and it doesn't get returned, you set it at your practice area, and don't leave it in your, don't have it in your case when you get somewhere. So this is really nice because it's really sort of permanently on your guitar. Another option is a tuning fork. So the tuning fork is a much more old school method to tuning. I actually bought this after taking a guitar workshop with Wyatt Rice, and he talked about tuning with your eyes instead of tuning with your ears. So I bought this fork to help me learn better how to tune with my ears. So the way this works is you give the fork a whack, usually on your knee. You take this other end and you touch it to the soundboard of the guitar, and it'll make an A note in this case because this is an A440 tuning fork. Once you do that, you can try to make your open A string match that tone, and then once you get it lined up where it doesn't sound dissonant, you can actually tune the rest of the strings. So I'll demonstrate that for you and show you how that can sound dissonant and not. But just to show you the tuning fork in general, I'll give this a whack and you can sort of hear it, but I'm going to touch it to the soundboard and you can hear that note. Here's just a quick demo of the tuning fork. I've detuned my A string so that you can hear what it sounds like when it's absolutely out of tune here. You hear that, how it warbles against the note. So tune up a little. And the goal is to make it sort of sound more uniform between the guitar and the tune-up fork. So that's not too bad at all. Item number 2 on the list would be a quality strap. So again, straps range in price and color and material and quality, and you can get a massive range. But one of the most important things about having a strap is learning to play standing up. I think a lot of folks practice and they're always sitting, and then they get somewhere and they need to go to a jam and they need to stand up because there's not chairs, and they don't know how to do that because the guitar feels really, really different. So here are a couple of different straps. This is a Franklin suede leather strap that I've had for years and years and years, and it works great. This is a strap that's made out of seatbelt material, and it works quite well. This one, if your guitar is a little heavy on one end or the other, it's really slick against your clothes, so it can sort of move around. This one sort of grips your body. But a quality strap and learning to get set up where your strap puts the guitar in the same position whether you're sitting or standing is important to me. I know some genres and styles, folks like to wear their guitar really low when they have their strap on, and when they're sitting, the guitar is much higher because it's in their lap. So I would recommend that you start out, if you're going to use the strap, put the strap on while you're sitting down and get it all adjusted so as you're sitting there, the strap is in the right position, and then just stand up and play. And that makes it very convenient. Other items that are important are tools to help you change your strings. So this is a string winder. This is an all-in-one tool which includes a wire cutter, a string winder, and a pen puller for acoustic guitar, which is pretty nice. You can use any pair of wire cutters that you want, but these are nice because they're round and you can't accidentally poke your guitar with them. I also have this Ernie Ball Power Peg Pro cordless string winder, and this is really nice because it's rechargeable. You can turn it on and off, and you can actually wind forward and backwards. And I use this when I'm changing multiple strings for multiple guitars at once. Along with those string changing tools is having an area to change your strings. So I know there's companies that specialize in that. I think Music Nomad is a company that creates neck supports and pads for changing your strings. I think StewMac has those as well. I use this yoga mat that my wife was not using anymore, and I actually took an old yoga block and I cut it in half and cut a V in it and made this neck support. It's not very pretty, but it's super effective in holding the instrument still and stable while I change the strings. Another important item are picks. Picks can make a huge difference in your tone, and experimenting with different pick sizes, material, and thicknesses will really have a massive impact. So you can go something that's like a thinner pick that's going to have a much brighter tone than something that's thicker, right? Also the shape and the point of the shape. So something that has a more rounded edge is going to have a darker tone than something with a more pointed edge, right? Like this. So playing with picks is really truly one of the ways that you can, at least on acoustic guitar, really impact your tone. So one of the things we'll do is I'll drop some of these picks on the tabletop here, and you'll get to hear there's many different sounds that these picks make, and they'll range from sounding like a poker chip to just a piece of plastic to even metallic sounding, right? And all of those things play into what it sounds like when you actually play these picks on your guitar. So this is the blue chip. Tortex, Steve Kaufman, 7.3 millimeter. Another item that you might not expect is a nail file. So this is a 7-way file from Amazon. So I don't actually have any fingernails. I'm not a fingerstyle player. So I think some folks would actually use these on their nails if they're playing, but I actually use these for my picks. And this is a really important tool, especially if you have something like old shell picks that need maintenance. But I think most picks need maintenance at some point. Some of them those are cheap enough just to throw away. But in this case, you can use this 7-way file that goes from more coarse to finer to help polish the edge of the pickup, or if there's a burr or one of those things. So this particular pick that I'm holding right now actually has a really worn edge, and I'm going to try to get that close enough that it'll make sense to see it. But this edge is really rough right now and I can feel it, and it's something that could absolutely grab the edge of the string. See if I can get that to focus. Grab the edge of the string and make a terrible sound or slow you down. So one of the things you can do is you can use this file to take this edge. I'm just going to start maybe on step 4 here, which is still really smooth, and I'm just going to work that edge a little on this pick, and then I can get finer and finer on the steps. I can go to step 5, 6, and 7 to help smooth out that edge a little more. And by doing this, it keeps this pick in playable condition and allows me to continue to use it versus just throwing it into trash. So there we go, nice and smooth. For acoustic guitar players, another essential item is some sort of humidification system. So this is a two-way humidification system from D'Addario. It comes in these little paper bags, and it has this little waterproof bag that will hold it so it won't leak in case it busts. This will actually, as the humidity goes out of the bag, it'll get crystallized inside, and if there's too much humidity, it'll actually absorb some of that. But these are great. They're sort of expensive, but these can go in your case or in your sound hole. If you don't want to spend that kind of money, you can make your own. And there's a lot of different methodologies for this. But this, I took a sponge and just cut a piece of sponge off, took a little resealable bag, poked holes in the bag, and then what you do is run the sponge under the water, wring it out so that it's just damp, and then you take this and you put it right in the sound hole of the guitar, or just lay it in your case. So some folks do that with a soap dish so that, you know, there's no flexibility there, there's no chance of anything coming out. But I find that this works pretty well, and you can literally just spread the strings out, place this in between the strings inside the case, and just sort of wrap it over the top of the string, something like that, while it's laying in the case, and it works really great. Another really important item that really impacts your playing is a metronome. So again, this is one of those things where you can buy digital metronomes, you can buy something that's more like this, that's older, or you can just use an app on your phone. But playing along with the metronome is a really important skill, and you know, it really shows you where you're at. Another item, especially for bluegrass guitar players, is a capo. And so you can see I have lots of different capos here. There's all different styles and kinds. Some of those clip over the neck, right, and use pressure. Some of them are more this yoke style that clip on. And I think that's the two styles that I have here. There's all different ones. My two favorites are the Elliott capo. These are very high-end capos. They're very nice. And I think the cheapest one of these starts, you know, around $100, 90 or $100. So they're really expensive. This is a Shub capo. I've had this for many years, and I think these are around $30. They work really, really well. They last forever. They're very robust. I think the new style has a wheel here instead of the little cone that you see on this one, but this one still works great. You know, you can get really cheap ones. I got this one along with a set of strings. I think I bought a 3-pack of D'Addario. This came along. This actually works quite well. Another popular one is the Page Click capo. So that's another cradle style or yoke style. This is a G7 capo that you can squeeze to get tight and squeeze to the opposite direction to open up. This one's nice because it's the G7th and it's the ART, which is the, I think, advanced radius technology. It's supposed to, if your fingerboard has a different radius, it can adapt to that versus sort of being made for a specific radius. Here's even a Taylor capo, and most folks probably don't know that Taylor makes a capo, but they came out with this, and I tried it. I didn't like it very much. It was very difficult to use. It's really, really hard to click and actually open up. But it held tuning well and all those things, but lots of different styles of capo. So those are some of the essential tools that I use with guitar. If I missed something that you use, please leave a comment below. And if you like this video, please like it and please subscribe. Thanks.